Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
So
Yes,
very
ma'am.
first we should just go through the instruction sheet. There are several typos. So the title of this experiment is Identification of Linear System from Frequency Response Test. And what is the objective? The objective is to plot the gain and phase angle. We'll see what is meant by gain and phase angle of various frequency. This one is, just a moment. To plot the gain and phase angle versus this will not be various, this is versus frequency graph of an unknown linear system, and to determine the transfer function of the system from the gain frequency plot. That is the objective. So this is basically the circuit diagram. So this is the system. This is one LTI system, and the system is unknown to us. Unknown means the transfer function of the system is not known to us. So with the help of this particular experiment, we'll try to find out the transfer function of this unknown LTI system. And for that, we'll excite this particular system with constant amplitude variable frequency sinusoid, and the sinusoid will be generated from audio frequency oscillator A4, and from A4 the constant amplitude sinusoidal having different frequencies will be an input to the unknown system, right? And the same signal, that means the input, the excitation, that particular signal will observe in the scope, that means in the oscilloscope, in an oscilloscope, and the signal, the input signal will be connected to the channel 1 of the oscilloscope. This diagram is correct. So the input will be connected to the channel 1 of the scope, and the output generated from the system will be connected to the channel 2 of the oscilloscope. So it's clear that we'll have to use a dual channel oscilloscope, right? So I'm not going through the procedure. So let's come to this particular point, point number 4. In order to measure the gain and phase shifts of the system, connect the system input and system output. The output is not written over here. The system input and the system output in the X and Y inputs of the scope. X input means channel 1 and Y input means channel 2, respectively. So the system input, which is obtained from this audio frequency oscillator, will be applied to the channel 1 of the scope, and the output will be applied to the channel 2, or channel 2 of the scope will be, or Y channel of the scope will be connected to the output of the system. So after we complete the discussion on this particular experiment, so try to answer this question, try to generate a report. And these are the sample questions which you'll have to answer. And here, though it's apparent, but still, it's 10 radian per second. And this one is also 50 radian per second. So one more book will be very helpful for this particular experiment, that is Shahani's Measurement. Shahani's book on measurement. Now let's discuss the basic theory behind this particular experiment. What is meant by frequency response analysis, and why this particular experiment is so very important to us? Because in the theory class, while we'll be discussing root locus and Nyquist stability criterion, often I'll refer to this particular experiment, right? So from that point of view, the experiment from the point of view of the computer experiment is a very simple one, but a very, very important one. So when an LTI system is excited with a sinusoidal input, right? So the input to the system, the reference input to the system is given by A sine omega t. So if the system is linear, then in the system at all the points, all the signals will be sinusoidal, right? So naturally, the steady state output from the system will also be sinusoidal, and the steady state output can be written as Ct is equal to B sine omega t plus phi. So if I compare these two equations, you see the input, the amplitude of the input sinusoid is A, whereas amplitude of the output sinusoid is B. The frequency is remaining same, right? In case of linear system, the frequency of the input sinusoid and the output sinusoid will remain same. In case of some nonlinear systems, in case of some typical nonlinear systems, this frequency might get changed. Okay, but in case of linear system, the frequency will not change, but there will be a relative phase shift between the output and the input. Okay, so what is frequency response? The magnitude and phase relationship between the sinusoidal input and the steady state output of a system is termed as the frequency response, right? So in LTI system, the frequency response is independent of the amplitude and phase of the input sinusoidal signal. So that's why, for our convenience, we have taken the phase of the input signal to be 0. The frequency response test on a system or a component is normally performed by keeping the amplitude A fixed. As I said, the input will be a constant amplitude variable frequency sinusoid, and determining B, this one, the amplitude of the output, and phi for a suitable range of frequencies. Okay, so for that we'll be requiring signal generator. So in this particular experiment, we'll use audio frequency oscillator, and precise measuring inputs will be required. So in this experiment, the measuring instrument is a dual channel oscilloscope. So these instruments are readily available, and very easily we can generate sinusoid having various ranges of frequencies and amplitudes. Now, the ease and accuracy of measurements are some of the advantages of the frequency response method. So now I guess you have understood what is basically a frequency response method or frequency response test. Do you have any question?
No, ma'am.
So the importance of this experiment: whenever it is not possible to obtain the transfer function of an unknown system through analytical techniques, the necessary information to compute its transfer function of the unknown system can be extracted by performing the frequency response test on the system. Okay, even if the test signal is a step or a ramp, then also obtaining the transfer function of the system is very tedious and complicated one, whereas the frequency response test is a very simple one and quite an accurate one. And from the diagram, okay, I'll show the diagram once again. So this implies that with the help of frequency response test, we can determine the transfer function of the system, or in other words, we can identify the unknown system by determining its transfer function. That's why the name of the experiment is identification of a linear system. The system is unknown. We don't know the transfer function of the system. And employing frequency response tool, frequency response test, we are trying to identify the unknown system. That means we're trying to determine its transfer function. Clear? So the frequency response test and further computation of the transfer function of an LTI system is a very useful tool for ascertaining the behavior of the system as a whole and to find out the stability, absolute stability and or conditional stability and or relative stability of a system. This fact can be appreciated when we shall discuss root locus technique, which is actually the second module of this course, and Nyquist stability criterion, which is basically the third module or third chapter of this particular course. So the frequency response is easily evaluated from the sinusoidal transfer function, which can be obtained simply by replacing S with j omega in the system transfer function Ts. That means the in the frequency domain, the transfer function will become Tj omega, right? Actually, S is equal to sigma plus j omega. Please note this one, this point. We know S is the complex frequency and S is given by a real part and the complex part, that is sigma plus j omega, right? But in the frequency domain, the sigma part becomes 0. And hence, in the frequency domain, this variable is replaced by only j omega. Why? We'll have to answer this question. Why in frequency domain S, which is equal to sigma plus j omega, is replaced by simply j omega? That is the question. We'll have to answer this question citing suitable reasons. So the transfer function T j omega thus obtained is a complex function of the frequency, and that is obvious. It's function of j omega. Complex function of frequency, and it will have a magnitude as well as a phase angle. So Bode plot you have studied, isn't it? You know Bode plot. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the transfer function T j omega thus obtained is a complex function of frequency and has both a magnitude and a phase angle. These characteristics are conveniently represented by graphical plots, and the most simple plot which helps us determining the zeros and poles of the system. Zeros and poles will describe the transfer function of the system that we know is the Bode plot. So I'm not going into the details of Bode plot. Basic points are written in this particular material. So this is the form, magnitude, and the phase angle. This bracket will not be here. Sorry. So this can be represented as this one. This is the gain part. This is the phase shift, relative phase shift between the output and the input. Okay. And the gain, so the Bode plot consists of actually two plots. One is gain versus frequency plot. So gain is expressed in dB. What is the gain? The ratio of B by A. That means the amplitude of the output sinusoid by the amplitude of the input sinusoid. And as I said, in frequency response test, generally this A is kept constant. and frequencies varied. This bracket should come over here. Anyway, so frequency should be varied over a wide range. Okay, so this is the ratio of interest, and this is basically the gain. We express this gain in dB. That means 20 log B by A, and we plot gain versus frequency. Okay? That is the magnitude plot, and also this phi. So phase, relative phase angle between output and input versus frequency. And since we vary frequency over a wide range, hence in Bode plot we use semi-log graph paper, isn't it? Okay, this one is one laboratory lab sheet prepared by one of your seniors. So this diagram is not correct. The previous one given in the instruction sheet is correct. So the input is connected to channel 1. I have tried to write 1 over here and 2 over here. So please note that the circuit diagram given in the instruction sheet is the correct one. Now this is a system. We are giving a sinusoidal input to the system, and we are observing the sinusoidal input as well as the sinusoidal output generated from the system, right? No feedback path is there. This is not a feedback path. This is, we are connecting the input to channel 1, right? That means with the help of this frequency response test, we'll find out the open loop transfer function of the system. Here, since output is not being fed back to the input, hence through this particular test, we'll be able to find out only the open loop transfer function of the system. So AFO is, yes, any question?
No, ma'am.
So AFO is the audio frequency oscillator, already have said. Now you'll find a little bit difficult in reading this table. Okay, so you see we are varying the frequencies from 50 hertz to 100 kilohertz.
Ma'am, you can rotate the page, ma'am, by
How
right
can,
clicking. Now right click on the page, ma'am.
yes,
There is option to
rotate
rotate.
clockwise.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay? Thank you. So you see we are varying the frequency from 50 hertz to 100 kilohertz, right? And the, as I said, the input magnitude, this is basically the amplitude. This is input amplitude of the input sinusoid. So the scale in the oscilloscope have been fixed at 1 volt per division. You have used oscilloscope, you know how to take readings using oscilloscope, right? Now, if we see the waveform in the oscilloscope, we'll see that 6 division. So the voltage value, the amplitude value of the input is 6 volt. And as I said, the amplitude value A will remain constant, will keep it constant throughout the experiment, and that can be verified by the by the entries in this particular column. You see the amplitude of the input sinusoid is kept constant at 6 volt. At 6 volt, peak to peak. Now this is this amplitude, generally we call it 2A. 2A. Now let's come to this output. So in the Y channel of the oscilloscope, or in the channel 2 of the oscilloscope, we'll be able to see the output waveform, right? And for this, at this particular frequency, 50 hertz, the input amplitude is 6 volt, and if we perform the experiment, we'll see that the amplitude of the output sinusoid will be 0.6 volt, will be 0.6 volt. Clear? And this we denote as 2B, peak to peak. This is also peak to peak. Clear? And I'll come to this y-intercept later on. Now, সবকটাই তো রোটেটেড হয়ে গেল।
ম্যাম ওটা আবার 3 বার রোটেট করলে হয়ে যাবে ম্যাম, রাইট ক্লিক করুন, রোটেট ক্লকওয়াইজ 3 বার করলে হয়ে যাবে।
Yes. Now, what we are doing, you know, in the oscilloscope, we can observe two waveforms if it's a dual channel oscilloscope. So, if we want to see the, suppose the input signal is denoted by, say, xt or rt, say. So, in one channel, if I ground the second channel, then the input waveform can be seen in the oscilloscope, right? The sinusoidal signal, that means RT versus T. Similarly, if I ground the channel 1, then, and if I put the second channel, channel 2, in AC mode, you know there are 3 modes: ground, AC, DC. In the AC mode, so we'll be able to observe the output sinusoidal signal, that is CT versus T. CT versus T. And there is another mode which is available on the oscilloscope, that is known as XY mode. XY mode. So we can, if we connect the oscilloscope in XY mode, then what will happen? The time base will be turned off. And we know that in the channel 1, we have given the input signal, input to the system. And in channel 2, we are observing the output sinusoidal signal in the normal mode. Now, if we connect the oscilloscope, if we put the oscilloscope in the XY mode, then, as I said, the time base will be turned off. What is the implication of this? XY mode is a specialized 2-channel mode of the oscilloscope when the signal of channel 1 is used for deviation along the horizontal axis. That means in the horizontal axis, in the x-axis, generally in the oscilloscope, x-axis is meant for time axis. Now the time base is turned off. So in the x-axis, the signal applied in channel 1 will be portrayed in some manner, and in y-axis, the signal given to channel Y will be portrayed in the same manner. So XY mode is a specialized 2-channel mode of oscilloscope, and the signal of channel 1 is used along the horizontal axis, and the signal of channel 2 is used along the vertical axis. So XY mode actually allows displaying the dependence of one physical quantity. So that means Y signal, dependence of Y signal on the other physical quantity, which is the X signal. That means the dependence of the output signal on the input signal. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if we put the oscilloscope in XY mode for each frequency, each and every frequency, and if there is a phase difference between the input and the output, as I said, for the linear system, the frequency will remain same, will not change. And if there is a phase difference between the output with respect to the input, then we'll get this kind of elliptical figure. If there is no phase difference between the input and the output, then we'll get such a kind of a straight line passing through the origin, and this angle is 45 degree. If the phase difference between the input and output is 90 degree, then instead of ellipse we'll get a circle. And if the phase difference between output and the input is 180 degree, then we'll get a straight line, but the straight line now will be in this particular direction. So this figures, when we apply two sinusoidal signals to the oscilloscope at two channels, and if we put the oscilloscope in XY mode, then this shapes that we get, these are called Lissajous figure. Right? So you'll have to study what is Lissajous figure, how Lissajous figures are derived. If you don't get any book, I can't allow anymore. So if you don't get Shahani's book, in Shahani's book there is a dedicated chapter on oscilloscope. So just try to find some suitable material in the net, and if required, I can send you a couple of YouTube link. Now, in the Lissajous figure, this is the ellipse, okay, and this is the output, peak-to-peak output. Okay, so this is 2B. This will give us the magnitude of the output sinusoid. So in the previous table, we denoted the output by this 2B, and this is along x-axis, the inputs along x-axis. In the x-axis, that means channel 1, we have connected the input. Hence, along x-axis, this one will give us this projection. If you take this projection, this projection then will get the input, which is denoted by 2A, right? And this length is called y-intercept. So from the diagram, it's clear which one is the output, which one is the input, and which one is the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept. Intersection of the ellipse with the y-axis at this point. The second point is this one. So this length is known as y-intercept. Clear? So this will denote by 2C. Have you understood this figure as well as how we are measuring the output, the input, and this one?
Yes, ma'am.
And for each and every frequency, we'll have to check whether the input magnitude is remaining fixed at 6 volt or not, or at a constant value or not. instead of 6 volt, we can keep the magnitude, we can fix the magnitude at 8 volt as well. But the magnitude of the input sinusoid should remain constant for each and every frequency. Now, the gain, please note it down. The dB gain, actually the ratio of the output amplitude and the input amplitude is given by 2B by 2A, output by input. So the ratio will be 2B by 2A, that is the gain. So in dB, the gain will be 20 log 2B by 2A. Okay, and the relative phase shift between the output and the input will be given by, it can be proved that the relative phase shift between the output and the input is given by sine inverse phi will be equal to sine inverse of 2C by 2B. Clear? Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So now we know how to find out y-intercept, how to measure the output and the input. So for each and every frequency, so for 50 hertz, I'm not rotating this one any further. So we can compute the gain here in this report. The gain and the phase shift has not been calculated in this particular table. Anyway, so when the frequency of the audio frequency A4 will be set to 50 hertz, the magnitude is constant, input magnitude is constant, 6 volt will apply the input signal at X channel, will apply the output signal at the Y channel, then we'll put the oscilloscope in XY mode, and from those values to C, to A, to B, 2A is known, but we'll have to check that it's really 6 volt. We can measure 2B for each and every frequency in this particular range, as well as from the Lissajous figure, we can measure y-intercept as well. So is it clear what we are doing?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this way, the table has been constructed. Let's go. And also, from the phase shift value, if the value is positive, if the value of the angle comes out to be positive, that means output is leading the input. And if the value comes out to be 0, that means they're in phase. Both the signals are in phase. And if the value is negative, that means the output is lagging the input. That can be checked from XY mode. Again, will change and will adjust the sweep rate. That means the horizontal scale properly. So if the time base is turned on, then on the oscilloscope, we'll be able to see both the signals. So in this particular case, we'll see. In this particular case, you'll see the noting is leading, means the output is leading the input. So that we can check also by putting by changing the mode of the oscilloscope from XY to normal mode, and by observing two signals, we know which in which channel which signal is given. So for 50 hertz, this is the output signal and this is the input signal. Okay, so we can verify, yes, the output is actually leading the input. At a certain frequency, at 4.4 kilohertz, we'll find that both the signals are in phase. 4.4 kilohertz. In phase. So we'll put the oscilloscope in XY mode for measuring 2A, 2B, 2C. And then we'll put the oscilloscope in normal mode to observe whether the output is leading the input or the output is lagging the input, or they're in phase. Both the signals are in phase. Now in this particular table, yes, here she has calculated the values. The first one, please note it down. The output was, this is 2A, 6. 2B is 0.6. I'm showing one calculation, please do it. And y-intercept, the value of y-intercept is 0.12. Have you noted down the values?
Wait, ma'am, 1 second.
And 2 is 6 volt. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's come to this particular table. So the frequency was 50 hertz. Check whether the gain value will be equal to minus 20 dB or not. 0.6 divided by 6, that means 0.1, 20 log 0.1. It's pretty simple, right? So the gain value will be equal to, that means capital B by A will be capital A, will be minus 20 dB. Calculate the phase shift. And please check whether this value is correct or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so it's positive and it's leading, that means output is leading, and that can be verified from those two sinusoids when the dual channel oscilloscope will be put in the normal mode, right? So over this wide range of frequencies, also for plotting the Bode plot, We'll have to convert this frequencies into radian per second. So this is the frequencies. So now we can plot magnitude versus frequency as well as phase angle versus frequency. So at 4.4 kilohertz, you see the phase angle difference between output and input is 0 degree. So they're in phase. And after that, the output starts lagging the input. So from this, you should draw the Bode plot. You should draw the Bode plot on your own to gain some insight on this particular experiment, because as I said in the theory class, I'll constantly refer to this particular experiment. So this is the actual gain versus frequency plot. This is the actual gain versus frequency plot. Here. So what we'll have to do for identifying, or rather for determining the transfer function of the system, we'll have to identify the poles and zeros of the system, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So for that, what we have done, we have approximated the actual gain versus frequency plot by this asymptotic magnitude plot. Clear? So if we approximate the actual, there will be some error, but still, if you approximate the actual magnitude versus frequency plot by an asymptotic one, then you see at the lower frequencies, the gain was minus 20 dB. So this is the asymptotic plot. So at this point, there is a change in slope. And what is the slope? This is plus 20 dB per decade. So that means in the system, at this particular frequency, there is a zero. Here. Now, again at this point, you see there is a change in the slope. Now the curve is a flat one. So the slope is now 0 dB per decade. That means at this point, the effect of 0 will be nullified by the presence and influence of a pole. So at this point, the system will have a pole. Similarly, at this point, again, there is a change in slope, and now this time the slope is minus 20 dB per decade. That means another pole has been added at this particular frequency to the system. So the system will have a 0 at this point and 2 poles at these 2 points. No further change in slope, hence the system will be a second order system with 2 poles and 1 0. And the value of gain, you know how to plot and how to compute the gain at low frequencies or at 0 frequency. So have you understood how we are determining the locations of the zeros and poles of the system? Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll expect that you'll be using that particular table. I'll send you this. I'll send you this material, this laboratory sheet. or answer script. Be careful about the typos or incorrect circuit diagram anyway, and just try to draw this magnitude frequency plot and try to identify the transfer function of the system. So identification, so this is the transfer function of the system, as now we know where the zero is located and where the two poles are located. So this is the transfer function that we can obtain, that we can find out from this magnitude frequency plot. So if you perform this experiment in laboratory, you'll find that only it will take 45 minutes to 1 hour, not more than that. And for calculation purpose, so additional 30 minutes. So the experiment is a very simple one, very simple one, but a very useful one, because with the help of this frequency response test, very easily we can find out the open loop transfer function of an unknown linear time invariant system. So I'm showing you the phase plot. So from the phase plot, they have calculated the phase shift again, and there is a little bit discrepancy. In 50 Hz, we saw the phase shift was around 11.54, which we obtained from the Lissajous figure. Now we have approximated the actual graph with the help of an approximate one, hence there will be some difference. This is the phase plot, very poorly drawn. Anyway, so sample calculations, already I have told you at output amplitude by input amplitude, that means 2b by 2a, and this is 2c by, sorry, this one, y-intercept by output, that means 2c by 2b. So this is the report part. This I'm not going to discuss because I've discussed the theory. I've shown you the table, so you should be able to answer these questions. And in nonlinear system, I told you, in case of nonlinear system, it might so happen that the input, frequency of the output sinusoid will be different from the frequency of the input sinusoid, which is not the case in case of linear time invariant system. So do you have any question? What I have discussed so far?
No, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now.
Ma'am, do we need to submit any lab report?
That I'm not sure. I guess Professor Eskaur Choudhury will be able to comment on this.
Sir,
So you just prepare, you just draw the Bode plot, you keep it ready, okay, and try to answer these questions, just this part, because otherwise the calculation, etc., everything will get from this report.
which part?
Only the report part. This
I mean the
part.
question answer.
Question answers.
Yes.
Yes. And please draw the Bode plot from the
Okay,
given table.
We don't need to submit any like the previous
Because
lab
I don't know.
classes.
I don't know whether these values are correct or not. That I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. And you'll get the insight. You'll get the feel. At least you will get some feel about this experiment. Okay. Should I close this material?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No.
Thank you.
No, it's not over yet. I do have a video of this experiment. Let's see whether it's can be played or not. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the
Yes,
audio
ma'am.
frequency oscillator. This is the system. Yes, this is the input points. These are the input points, right? So one input, one cable is coming from the A4. The other one is the second one. This is the input. This one is going to the oscilloscope. This is the ground terminal. And this is the output from the system. The system is not known to us. This is the wait. This is the audio frequency. এটাকে zoom করা যায় জানো?
না ম্যাম ইন ভিডিও
Can I
জুম
zoom
করে
it?
যাবেন
Can I zoom it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see
Yes,
the
ma'am.
front
Yes,
panel of
ma'am.
the audio frequency oscillator?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So these are few buttons with the help of which we can select different ranges of frequencies, right?
ম্যাম আপনি স্ক্রিনে
And
ডাবল ক্লিক করলে ফুল স্ক্রিন হয়ে যাবে তো
double click key, left na right?
লেফট
কিছুই তো বললো না।
ফুল স্ক্রিন হয়ে গেল
না ম্যাম জুম হবে না জাস্ট ফুল স্ক্রিন ম্যাম দেখা যাচ্ছে আপনি যেটা
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম দেখা যাচ্ছে
Acha, so by pressing this keys, we can select a particular frequency range. Okay, and with the help of this knob, within this range, we can select a particular frequency, right? And with the help of this particular knob, what we can do, we can fix the amplitude of the signal. And with this device, with this audio frequency oscillator, we can generate, I guess you'll be able to see, a triangular wave, a rectangular pulse, also
it
a
is.
sinusoid. So we'll press this one for generating a sinusoid. And with the help of this, we'll select the amplitude. We can tune the amplitude of the signal generated by this one, which will be the input to the
And the bigger knob is used for, ma'am? And the bigger knob will be used for?
this one.
Yes, ma'am.
With the help of this keys, just we can select a frequency range. We can select a frequency range, but within this particular range, for example, say 20 to 50 hertz. But if I want to, if I press this key, then I'll be able to select a frequency within the range, say for example, 20 to 50 hertz. But if I want to fix the frequency at 30 hertz, then I'll have to use this particular knob, and tuning this knob, I can fix the frequency at 30 hertz within this particular range. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So by pressing this keys, we are selecting a range, and with this dial, we are selecting a particular frequency within this particular range. So now you'll be able to see the ranges. So as I said, this is the unknown linear system, and this is our oscilloscope, right? Two channels are there. So X channel has been connected to the input signal, and Y channel has been connected to the output signal generated by the system. So here you can see so we are pressing this for selecting a particular frequency from 10 to 100 hertz, right? And then by turning this knob, by rotating this knob, and you see the 6 volt. With the help of this knob, we are selecting, and this is the sinusoidal one, so we'll have to press this one. These are the ground terminals. Input terminals, output terminals. So a little phase shift between the output and the input. Hence, we are getting a very narrow elliptical shape, that is, which is basically the Lissajous figure. This is channel Y, second channel, this is channel X, channel 1. Input signal, output signal. And this is the XY mode. Can you see? Just a moment. Can you see this one? Let me play it. XY mode, can you see this one?
Yes, ma'am.
And there's the knob with the help of which we can select the time scale and a particular position at a particular position of this knob in this particular oscilloscope, the XY mode will be selected. So we have grounded the we have grounded the X channel signal, that means the input signal. Hence, this one is the length of the output signal, or this is basically for that particular frequency, this is nothing but 2B. So from this length can be measured very easily, right? So this way we are measuring the output by grounding the input. Similarly, by grounding the output, will get a horizontal line, the length of which should be equal to 6 volt. That means that is the amplitude of the input signal, which is equal to twice A. We are adjusting it, adjusting the input amplitude. We have grounded the Y signal. And now you see 3, that means 6 volt, 1 volt per division. So now we have changed the frequency and we have obtained an ellipse, that is the Lissajous figure. So from this is the y-intercept, this is the input, and that will be the output. So this is the scale. These are the scales. If you have any query, please ask me, then I'll pause the video and I'll try to answer them. So when we are measuring the output, we are grounding the input signal. As I said, there are 3 positions. One is AC, DC, and ground. The middle one is ground. We are changing the horizontal scale. So we have changed the mode from XY mode to normal mode. Hence, now we can see the 2 sinusoidal signals on the screen of the oscilloscope. So we are trying to find out which one is leading whether the output is leading the input or lagging it. And by shifting it, we are trying to match the peak values, and from that, by checking the shift between the peak values of the output and the input. We are trying to decide upon the fact that whether the output is leading the input or lagging the input or in phase with the. So do I have to play the video again, or you have understood the basic essence of this experiment?
Yes, ma'am, understood.
So do you have any question?
No, ma'am.
And I think you have already received the instruction sheet, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ওকে ফাইন। আজকে যদি কেউ তোমাদের সেকশনে ঢুকতে না পারে তাহলে কালকে ঢুকতে বলো।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, একজনই আছে, জাস্ট ভিক্টর মন্ডল। ও অ্যাকচুয়ালি ঢুকেছিল অলরেডি, বাট তারপর কেটে গেছিল। আপনি তারপর ওই ডিনাই করলেন।
ও
ঢুকতে পারেন।
তখন বলবে তো, তাহলে অ্যালাউ করে দিতাম। ঠিক আছে, কালকে জয়েন করতে বলো।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, ওকে।
So
আমি
if
ম্যাম
you
ওর
have-
অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা দিইনি, তো ওটা ম্যাম ও যদি কালকে জয়েন করে তাহলে ওটা করে দেবো।
আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা, যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন না থাকে তাহলে আমি সেশন এন্ড করছি। কালকে তো আমি সেকশন এর ক্লাস নেব। কালকে ক্লাসটা হয়ে গেলে তোমাদের সাথে শিডিউল করে নেব যে নেক্সট থিওরি ক্লাসটা কবে নেব।
ওকে ওকে।
ফার্স্ট জানুয়ারি ক্লাস করবে? এই প্যান্ডেমিকে আর কি করবো? হ্যাঁ,
একদিন ছুটি হলে ভালোই হয়, প্রতিদিনই ক্লাস হচ্ছে।
8 দিন ছুটি হলে তাহলে আবার আমার ফাইনাল ইয়ারের শিডিউল দেখে ক্লাস ফিক্স করতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, আর নাইকুইস্টার রুট লোকাসের কিন্তু আমার কোনো কি বলবো সফট কপি নেই। ওই দুটো পড়াতে কিন্তু সময় লাগবে, এটা খেয়াল রেখো। তোমাদের কি সেশন 22nd এন্ড করছে, 22nd জানুয়ারি?
না ম্যাম, তো কিছু বলেনি। 18 জন একটা একাডেমিক ক্যালেন্ডারে দেখলাম যে ওটা এক্সাম
18 জানুয়ারি একাডেমিক ক্যালেন্ডার দেওয়া আছে। আমাদের এসআর স্যার বললেন যে একাডেমিক ক্যালেন্ডার থেকে ডিভিয়েট করতেই পারে, মানে সেটা কোনো ফিক্স নেই।
একাডেমিক ক্যালেন্ডারে কত আছে এখন অব্দি? 18 জানুয়ারি তোমাদের?
ইয়েস ম্যাম, 18
জানুয়ারিতে প্রচুর ক্লাস লাগবে কিন্তু, কারণ নাইকুইস্টার রুট লোকাস পড়াতে প্রচুর সময় লাগবে। ঠিক আছে, ওকে।
ওটার কোনো সিনিয়রদের থেকে কোনো নোটস আপনার কাছে নেই ম্যাম? মানে ওটা নোটস ছাড়া পড়াতো।
না না, আমি তো চকের মোডে পড়াই, নোটস কি করে থাকবে?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, মানে আমাদের ওই পাওয়ার ইলেকট্রনিক্স স্যারও তাই করছিলেন কি, মানে উনিও চক এন্ড বোর্ডে পড়ান, তো সিনিয়ররা যারা নোটস করেছিলেন ওনার চক এন্ড বোর্ড ক্লাসে সেই নোটসটা নিয়ে আমাদের বুঝিয়ে দিচ্ছিলেন।
আমি এখন প্যান্ডেমিকের মধ্যে কোন সিনিয়রকে পাকড়াও করব যে স্ক্যান করে আমাকে তার নোটস পাঠাবে? আর ওই
আচ্ছা ম্যাম, আমরা দেখছি, আমরা যদি কাউকে।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, আমরা ট্রাই করেছিলাম।
দাঁড়াও, নোটসটা যে ঠিকঠাক নোটস দিয়েছে তার কি গ্যারান্টি আছে? তারপর তো ক্লাসে যদি
আপনি পড়ানোর
বসে
সময়
বসে
দেখতে
অনেকক্ষণ কারেক্ট করতে হয় তাহলে তো মুশকিল। হ্যাঁ, তার থেকে আমি ওই যেরকম ভাবে হাতে লিখে আর ওই বই স্ক্যান করে যেভাবে করেছিলাম ফার্স্ট চ্যাপ্টারটা ওইভাবে করে দেবো। আশা করি তোমাদের তাতে অসুবিধা হবে না।
ওকে ম্যাম, ওকে।
Okay, ma'am.
ওকে, বাই।
থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম।
থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম।
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.